Hi all, we are watching the fourth episode of the WFH show with Ashley. This week we talk about digital prototyping. In my 24 years as a designer since my school days and all the way up till now, I've witnessed the transition and evolution of our industry. The most amazing change is actually the transition from paper to digital. Now in the past when I was schooling, we were learning how to draw with paper, inking and renderings with markers. The school paid a lot of emphasis on the skill sets of hand drawing. We had to be neat, we needed to know how to play with mixed media like markers and color pencils. Basically, you were learning to be a designer and an artist at the same time. So, in the course of my career, technology advanced and we moved from marker renderings to 3D drawings. At a certain stage of my career, I even worked as a 3D visualizer to supply renderings for the market. So architects, designers and contractors would engage my services to help them do renders just like a freelancer. This was all the way back in 2004-2005. I had to learn my know-hows to create the 3D visuals mainly by myself, by asking friends and going to the library to experiment with different methods. Back then, high-speed internet wasn't even a common thing. And I remember if we wanted to watch a YouTube video, it took forever just to load a 30 seconds clip. Now we can all watch online video tutorials on how to produce the perfect renders, how to create the perfect lighting, as well as the perfect texture in your scenes. Back then, our drawings were blockish and unrealistic. At best, it is just a representation of the forms with very little design and artistic flair, much less being realistic. This was one of the toughest transitional change for me because we were learning the tools and settings like how to cut holes for our windows, loft a certain shape on the ceiling, and find furniture to dress up the space we create. We spend a large part of our time figuring out the commands and experimenting, with very little time designing and adding our flares and style into the project. Naturally, the 3D visuals versus our previous hand-drawn drawings lacks the designer's touch, and I struggled with this for almost 2 years. But of course, over time, our skills and standards picked up. The software company also released patches and upgrades that made certain actions easier and a little bit more complete. Over time, our drawings improved, our design that used to flow freely from our hands to our paper, moving from our minds, our hands and to the mouse. And all these took about 10 over years, from the 2000s all the way to the 2010s. We started to see photorealistic renders suddenly coming into the scene. These renders were game changers because the renders were clearly depicting the texture, the materiality, the lighting, like an afternoon sun streaming into the bedroom so realistically. This was made possible by advancements in our computer speeds. More and more YouTube tutorials were also posted, and it was where we could pick up valuable tips and tricks that these visualizers and animators were doing right and sharing with all of us. To top this all up, people were even starting to do walkthrough animations, especially for property development. Very soon, the whole market started to have an uplift in its standard. And at the same time, we noticed two strange phenomena started to happen. Number one, we started to notice that our clients were saying things like we can't really visualize, we can't see the space. And this was even though we used high quality photorealistic renderings. And it was definitely doing a much better job than our old hand-drawn drawings, yet they couldn't visualize. The second phenomenon was actually, we started to see the designers, another type of breed of designers were emerging into the market. These were architects or designers with proper training, but choose to only excel in visualizations. So they left the designing or conceptualization to the people on the front line, which was also weird because the training we got in the olden days were mostly about being a complete package. But other than this, the evolution and the change was already happening rapidly. We could see all sorts of advancement like the use of panorama and VR starting to come into the scene. These panorama renders are essentially rendering a space into a sphere, and the VR or panel software would unwrap the sphere and you could view the render as if you are inside the space. What is probably not obvious to everyone is that all this digital evolution to the design scene was happening because the digital evolution for manufacturing was also happening at the same time. The thing is, our computer-assisted drawings were actually drawn with real-world measurements. So when we draw a queen-size bed in that space, those units are real. And when you have real units, you could actually attach values to them. What this all means is that any one of our renders could literally have the data to not only produce a render or a quotation. You could also calculate quantity like the floor tiles needed or the wallpaper needed in that space. It is capable of forming construction as well as engineering information for builders to execute on site. To top it all up, we can also send information to computer-assisted machineries in the workshop so that it could actually digitally cut out pieces of wood panels for the assembly of furniture. So, design, site execution, and manufacturing could be one continuous supply chain. So old school designers like me have so much to learn, and it seems the whole thing is just getting started. From visualizations to precision manufacturing, it's becoming a reality, and I can't wait to see the day when CAD and CAM coming together in a co-working space and everyone using advanced mediums to explore design. For me, I'll still be drawing, albeit with new digital devices. I still believe in the free flow of ideas from my head to my pen. For this, I will share our ideas to my team and to explore the different ways to manifest our ideas to reality. We hope you like this week's episode. If you like our show, hit the like button and share. Next week, we'll be talking about lighting and the importance of using the right kind of lights in your space. Stay safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.